What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome back to another Tuffy Talk live show. We are still here. Greg the Legs back with us, rocking and rolling, excited and ready to go. Michael Tracy Makin's even back with us, and got myself with the same name and the same words right here as well, baby. You didn't even have to change it. Got on here and said, "Sweet baby, sweet," kept it going, and making, you know what? Why not us? Hey, still going to hold a place in the hearts of all NC State fans here for sure. But as always, again, if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, make sure to put them in the chat, and we will get to all of them here today. But again, a lot of today is going to be spent around one thing and one thing goalie, and that is home insurance. You can never have enough of it. So just make sure to get ahead of it, y'all.
Really was a buzzkill.
Oh man, no, just messing. I don't know exactly what I saw this weekend, man. Michael, do you have any idea what you saw this weekend, man? I gotta be honest. I didn't know we had it in us. I didn't know we had this in us, man. Like absolute dominance. Like it was easy. Like it was borderline easy, actually.
Yeah, I think you saw the team a lot of us expected coming into the year. Pitching just lights out and putting the bats together. And I think it's different than last year, kind of the lineup makeup where you had Pennington and AMAC, and it's like those guys were, power hitters, and you don't have anybody on that level this year, but you're just getting a little bit more from everybody else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But Greg, give it to us, man. First of all, sweet baby sweep for sure. Dude,
I don't know how to use one of these other than for baseball.
Right.
It's the only time Greg touches.
Well, yeah, you don't use it when you're tailgating either. So just take care of your piece. But
it's true.
Dude, the only thing I could say, man, is dude, like between just how dominating NC State looked this weekend. Again, we'll kind of get into the rankings, which I have a little bit of some that grinds my gears with these rankings, but again, we'll kind of get into that here in a little bit. But first of all, Greg, can we talk, let's just get kind of the small stuff out of the way, but
sure.
Can we not figure out something to figure out how can we keep Clemson from starting the game 1-0 every single game, man? That's the one spot. That's the one only. That's the only thing I can say. But it was like on the third game, when they hit the home run, I was like, really, like man, I don't know. That was the only thing that I could really say bad. But it's just like how funny it was how it was a every single game thing, and that was the only time they would really have anything over us.
Right. Yeah. No. It just. I will say this about our pitching: if you don't get them in the first inning or two, good luck. We usually settle in and become dominant as the game gets on. I think our guys just get so much stronger, and then you can attribute some of that to the really good bullpen that we have. Again, like Michael said, that was kind of like what we were expecting from the beginning. And I just want to ask where all the haters and the naysayers are right now. Like I hope that they understand that baseball is not like football. It's not a sprint, right? It's a marathon in basketball. Excuse me, baseball. Get my sports right now. It's been a long day. So look, just let it play out. This team that looked like February does not look anything like it in May, April. I think we're just going to keep riding this high.
Hey, Elliot Avent said it best: just play your best ball in May. That's all you can really do. But Preacher Man kind of has it all summarized beautifully here. First of all, that win on Thursday night, 14-4, win by run rule. Britton, 4 innings pitched, 4 runs, five strikeouts. It's kind of funny that Thursday game. Let's be real. Honestly, was just a teaser or a trailer of what's to come. But I don't know. Like watching that game, did it kind of have a little bit of like a game 2 Louisville vibes where it's like, well, maybe this is something, but it could just be kind of like, it's just a little piece to the story kind of deal, but not the full story.
I don't know. I just thought about your original point. It was just dominant. There was not a point really, except for the first inning, like you mentioned, where I thought State didn't have it pretty
under control.
under control. Yeah, I think it's interesting now because looking at where they are in the rankings. I saw somebody put out a tweet to the season ended now. They would be matched up to play Miami. And
it depends. It depends because we would be the 1 seed, so someone would have to play into us. It's not guaranteed.
Right now, it looks like it would be
if it
we would be playing the 9 and the 16, which are right now UVA and Cal, and then the winner would play Miami.
Correct.
State.
Go Cal.
Yeah. So and then the winner that would be. I mean, Miami's playing hot right now too. We got to go down there and play at Miami coming up. So Miami's a hot team. These next 2 weeks are going to be very telling at the top half of the ACC, top third of the ACC. We still got to play Miami, we still got to play Carolina. But I mean, like I think Michael's point made earlier, it seemed easy, and you said the same thing, Leighton. I just thought that was a very dominant series win against the number 2 team in the country, and I mean.
Yep.
I just hope they're not peaking just a little too early, but they're getting it done to where they can be in a top 16 team in the country, which they are right now. So,
well, I mean, for the sake of postseason, and Greg, I'm sure you'd agree. I mean, in terms of postseason, you could argue this would be one of the best times to peak in terms of against a number 2 Clemson, because from a resume perspective, it is going to be a huge bright spot on a resume that does have a couple of lowlights to it, such as the loss against Ohio State. That's definitely not aging very well, for sure. So, I mean, while I do agree with making that, I mean, obviously you want to peak, in ACC, in postseason play. I mean, let's be real. I mean, also too, because one thing that, we'll obviously talk about as well is the fact that Avent has somehow, just by the worst luck of maybe any coach ever, avoided a ACC title. And I mean, he has a great opportunity to get a regular season title staring him right in the face. If he can take care of these 2 series, he's staring there right in the face. And I mean, let's be real. As great as any ACC title is, a regular season title, especially in baseball, is definitely a little bit more impressive for sure. I mean, to be able to be the best team over an entire regular season and not necessarily just hitting gold and fire in one weekend necessarily. So, but Greg, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, you have 3 series left, nine ACC games. I think if you win 6 of 9, you're probably going to win the ACC. I think 21, 22 games is going to be the magic number. It's going to be a little bit off this year because of the FSU not playing one series, so they're only going to play 27 ACC games. So that's going to throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in it. It's not just a guaranteed, okay, if you get to this number, you're guaranteed because of the whole FSU calculation because of win percentage. But I feel confident if you get to 21, I feel really good. 22, I think it pretty much puts it on lockdown. Now, you mentioned we do play Carolina. Clemson still plays Carolina and FSU. FSU plays Carolina, I believe. So there's going to be some round robin things happening over the next couple of weeks that some of these other things will kind of sort themselves out. Obviously, one team's going to not be able to win and the other team's going to win. So I do think that if we get to 21, 22, I do feel good. So somehow get, I feel so our last series against Stanford. So let me say that I figure you're good for 2 out of 3, potentially another sweep. So if you get all 3 of those, then you only got to go 500 essentially against the other 2 series. If you do that, I like a number 1 ACC seed and ACC regular season championship. But still a lot of baseball to be played. So a lot of baseball.
A ton for sure. But I mean, and Michael, kind of one of the things too, as well, which kind of, we'll kind of keep this thing going in terms of, how the outlook might be. But I mean, I know that we've had these conversations around this new post ACC tournament format. And so you got to feel that getting that number 1 seed, I mean, especially now with this format, is probably the most valuable asset that a number 1 seed has ever been in the history of ACC baseball.
Yeah, for sure. I think we talked about it last week. Like if you get the number 1 seed or really a top 4 seed, you're only having to play 3 games. Like you're only having to play like a regular weekend series against different teams, but still only 3 games over the span of 3 or 4 days. because I think there's a gap in there because of the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
But yeah, so getting that top 4 and especially number 1 really sets you
or
up
number
well
4
for the weekend.
Or number 4, believe it or not.
4.
Yeah, because the way the matchup, the tournament is if you're the 4 seed, you play on Thursday. So if you win that, you don't play again until Saturday. So 1 and 4 play Thursday, then play Saturday, Sunday if they advance.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one plays straight through. So 2 and 3 play straight through.
Yeah.
So even if you were to slip to a 4, the extra day is key. So whether it's 1 and 4, the top 4 doesn't really matter. I think we would match up fine against any of the top 4 teams. But the key being is you want to play on that Thursday, so that way you get that extra rest, and then you could potentially bring somebody back on a Saturday or Sunday on some rest.
Yeah, that's true. So I think right now for the ACC purposes, even though right now, and again we'll talk about it, you have 3 of the top 5 teams right now in the country are from the ACC. I mean, if you're NC State, you got to
be named NC State too, right?
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, and again, we'll get to that. We'll get to that for sure.
Yeah.
But it's really funny because and you kind of mentioned it, Michael, to start. And I mean, even though making this team doesn't have as much firepower as it did last year with AMAC, Pennington, Cozart, that really year 1 through 8 has been as deep as really any state baseball team we've seen in some time, for sure. I mean, the fact that you have Luke Nixon,
Luke Nixon being
7
down
or
there.
8.
I was just thinking about Luke Nixon being down there in that that middle of the order kind of thing. It's it is strong. To me, this just shows me this is just how Avent works. He just got to give them time. May not come all the way together at the very beginning, but he just is he's a good coach. He can bring it all together right then when he has to. It's working that way. He can push the right buttons. I think it just should teach us as fans to be patient. And I will also add, the fans, to some degree, they want to see results and they want to win all the time. And that's a healthy fan culture to some degree, but it's also something where you got to believe in this coaching staff in the program, right? Because they're going to do it. They've done it year after year after year after year, and it's just every year we just bail on them early. It feels like when you got McHugh, you've got Braisman, who was amazing this weekend. You've got the pitchers, Anderson Nance. I told Greg, texted him, we're going to have to pay that guy. Marone was dealing and maybe cussing somebody out there during the game. We're just giving them the business, at least what it looks like.
The business. There you go. And, good Rod Cherry reference.
Right. Some these guys are, I don't know. Sosa, I think, is a stud too. There's so many guys in this team. They may not just yet be top, first round MLB draft picks, but they're getting there and they're putting all the pieces together right now where they're building their resume. And I can bet you scouts like what they saw this weekend. So
there was a bunch of them there.
Oh yeah. Oh, I bet. Especially on Sunday because they got to watch for NC State 2 first-round draft picks throwing the ball. So, I'm sure they love what they're saying again. That's the thing too, Michael, as well. That is just kind of the craziest part is again, Duden, first of all, 3 strikeouts, came in for 1 inning, 3 strikeouts, 1, 2, 3, was the easiest thing I've ever seen. But the fact is that you didn't even really need him. You put him in just to get the job done. Just to change it up. Just get your closer in there, get the job done, get the sweep over with. Don't force Marone to be play hero ball and play and pitch the complete game if you didn't need him to. Yeah. But again, Marone could have gotten in there and gotten the job done. Being up 4-1.
He was done.
Oh, he was done.
He's
done.
He had over 100 pitches. That's.
I know, but I'm just saying, you see what I'm saying? But it's not like in the 8th inning he was pitching bad. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
More about pitch count at that point than he was struggling.
Pitch count, really, than how he was looking. I get it.
Yeah,
but you see what I'm saying? It wasn't a situation where it was besides the pitch count, where if, gosh forbid, let's say it was a tournament game, for example. that, where, you would like to hold on to guys if possible, but also too as well. I mean, again, I think about that being that, in a tournament, like one inning's not going to take a guy out for the rest of the tournament either. So I get that too. But with that really being said, like you really used 5 pitchers for the entire weekend.
Only 5 pitchers went more than 1 inning is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right. Correct.
Correct. Just came in and threw all sliders.
I mean, honestly, you could have brought Duden out in the 8th in that situation. I mean, we've seen where this has backfired on State before, where they hang with a guy, a batter or two too many. But give credit to Marone. I mean, he went out there and buckled in for that last out and got it done. I would have been fine. Again, we were texting during the game. I would have been fine. Like, I thought Marone should have come out in the 8th, just personally. Because this is what happens, and I think this is where we get in trouble with our relievers sometimes, is they'll bring them in a sticky situation where, it's not a clean inning, and they have to be perfect. And I think, if you have a guy on at second, the first guy, it just always feels that the first guy that comes in gets walked, and so you just didn't want to get it, spiral out of control. But again, like I said, give Marone credit, and give the coaches credit too. Like they stuck with them and had a gut and they played it and it worked. But I would like to see Duden go more than 1 inning. I mean, he's shown over the last month and a half that, I think he's only getting up like 4 hits over like 20 innings. It's like his numbers are just sick. His strikeout ratio is good. So I would have been okay, especially we had such a full bullpen rested. I would have probably liked to say, hey, like, all right, Ryan, you did your job. Go enjoy the rest of the view from the dugout, because he had earned it at that point. But again, give the staff credit. Yeah,
I mean this is, and everything I'm saying is totally a hindsight 2020 comment. But I mean, definitely, I think most NC State fans were saying, put Duden in and just get the job done. Like, let's just get this thing over with and not, let Marone get a walk or get a hit by pitch or whatever, and then now Duden's gonna have to come in with a guy on base. You'd rather give a guy clean, just like you were saying, clean field to work with. So, but I mean, again, with how Duden came in and relieved, like, it didn't matter if bases were loaded, man. Like Duden came in and was ready to kick some butt and then move on. So
I kind of want to talk about game 1 though. I mean, there's like the game 1 performance was just
insane.
You had Aiden Knack, arguably probably one of the top 6 or 7 pitchers in the ACC. Clemson hadn't lost. So these are things we haven't even talked about, right? This was the first series loss for Clemson in the ACC play. The only other team that got close to them was Wake Forest, and Clemson won on the rubber match. So, like, we came in the first 2 games and just shut the door. I mean, the series was done after game 2, and then you hurt. And again, this is nothing against Clemson. Clemson's a very good squad. They've got a really good bullpen, but we had just became so dominant. Like we didn't allow them to dictate situation. I thought our hitters did a very good job, especially Fraseman in game 1, who had a career day for not only him, but like state numbers, like a 5 for 5 day. Yeah. The last time we saw that was Cannon Peebles back in 22, I think 22.
Unreal.
Yeah, I mean, 2
like
home
what,
runs.
8 for 8 to start or something like that.
Yeah, so if you take all the games combined, he had gotten 8 straight at bats where he had gotten a hit, dating back from the previous series to this series.
It's crazy.
Yeah. But then, so like it just became a hit parade. I mean, 19 hits. That's an insane number to do, and I think we only hit. Well, I mean, not only hit, but I mean, out of the 19, only 3 were home runs, which is, so just getting it done. I mean, McHugh, Fraseman, Sosa had a bomb. Sosa had 2 bombs in the series. It just, everyone contributed in that lineup. You had Austin Fort that was getting a spot DH start, and he contributed, had a couple of hits and got hit and scored a couple of runs and fired up the team. I mean, it was a complete team effort on not only the game 1, but all 3 games.
Yeah. No, I mean, and even too, I mean, Jaros even came in a DH circumstance as well and got a RBI. I mean, and was solid. Again, it's just like, that's the thing that you love about this team, is that even though this isn't the biggest hitting team in terms of power, that from a situational perspective,
it's right there.
How well they're hitting but also while being so young too. That's the other thing you got to keep in mind as well. It's not like this is a team with a bunch of seniors and upperclassmen. I mean, it's a very young team, and so it's again, it's almost seems too good to be true. I mean, like think about it. Like if I were to ask you like back in February, like, hey, don't you worry, in about 2 months' time, in-state baseball is going to be square in, it's going to be fully in the talks of being a number 1 overall seed, being a regional host, and even potentially being a top 8 seed in NCAA tournament. Now, you still got a little bit of work to do for that, but you're in that conversation. Like, I think you and all of us would say, are you crazy? We just lost to Ohio State and just lost, 3 straight games down in Florida. Like, no, that ain't happening.
I'll be honest. I don't know if I would think it was crazy. I would think, well, if that's the case, I'd be very skeptical. They've got a long way to go. I would be like, man, so many things have to go right the rest of the way that the odds would probably say all of those things happening to the degree they need to probably aren't happening. And I really, being genuine, I'd probably be like, man, I can't count Coach Avent out. Just give him some time. I feel like I've learned my lesson on that. But I would have been skeptical, and I was skeptical. And I think rightfully so. But I also would say, like, again, I come back to it, just being patient with it, because I just think it's interesting with the coach we have, who's proven to do this seemingly every year around this time. He's getting it done. Why do I doubt? Why do I doubt that? So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
I think one of the big keys to in this series is, there was no errors by State in the whole series defensively.
That's crazy.
And then going back, they'd only had committed 2 errors over the last 6 games. It's going to be 2 errors over the last 7 games. And this was after a 5-error game against Louisville when we got blown out of that game. So the fact that they've been able to bounce back defensively, I think, is a huge piece of that. Because now, if you're not walking guys, you're not giving them extra outs, you're not doing all these things, you give yourself a really good chance to win ball games.
Yeah. Now, Michael, though, I do want to ask you, because, just like Greg said, no errors. That's insane. 14 run 14-4 win in game 1 with 19 hits. Didn't allow Clemson to score above 4 runs the entire weekend. Really was hitting on all cylinders offensively from not just one guy, not just 2 guys, but multiple guys this whole weekend. How impressive would you say this weekend performance was for in-state baseball compared to recent performances you've seen by other in-state baseball teams over the years? This one's got to be up there in terms of how impressive it was.
Yeah. It was just like out. We talked about outside of the first innings, which really was just the top of the first. It was because they were batting first, so we couldn't score first. But
sure,
yeah. It was pretty much I like they were the number 2 team, and like I always felt like State was in control, or at least like had some potential to really break the game open at some point in each game. And it wasn't like, even that Sunday game, it was close. It was 2-1, probably into the 5th inning, or 6th inning. And that one I was still like, okay, well, with the way we've been pitching, it's like I still feel good. 1 run, and then obviously Sosa hits another home run to extend it. But yeah.
Game 2, it got a little close at 4-3 in the 7th, and then we broke it back out in the bottom of the 7th, scoring 4 runs. So that was really the only time that I felt. I still, to your point, Michael, I don't really, even when it got to 4-3 in game 2, I didn't feel like, okay, we're gonna blow this and not close it out. It felt like, okay, we still have a lead. Now let's go get a little insurance. And that's exactly what they did in game 2. And then game 3, it got, I think, like within 2 runs at one point. And then again, we broke it out. Like for that vaulted, bullpen that you kept hearing about all weekend, because we went back and rewatched the games. Like we took it to their bullpen. They didn't have anything that I thought was like, okay, because I watched them in that Louisville series the week before, because I just kind of, doing a little scouting on them. Like they were very dominant against Louisville, and even in the loss, they were in that game. So I thought coming into this series that we would probably take 2 or 3. Like I thought legitimately we were going to win the series. Didn't have sweep on my bingo card and didn't have an ass whooping on my bingo card either, because that's just basically what it was.
It was an ass whooping. But now, with that being said, though, I got to move to tweet of the week because I got to get to it really grinds my gears. So let's jump into it. All right, Greg. So the rankings came out, and I remember in your video you had said that you put out on Sunday. You said D1 baseball. If you don't put us in the top 15, you're dead. You're dead to me. So they said, okay, Greg, fine. We'll put him in the top 15. They put him at lucky number 13.
Yeah.
So
they put him in the Sosa.
Yep, in the Sosa spot. Yeah, we'll go with the Sosa spot instead of the unlucky spot. I like that. But it's also dead center too. That's kind of one thing I like about it too in the rankings. That's dead center, man. Obviously it makes sense in the way of, hey, okay, we went from 25 to 13. That's a jump of 12 spots. That's a pretty significant jump for sure. But
you know what really grinds my gears?
Clemson went from 2 to 3.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, okay, either we are underrated or Clemson's overrated. It can't be both. Like, it can't be neither. It can't be both. It can't be neither. It has to be either one or the other or both.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Because anybody who gets swept by a team that's not in the top 10 does not deserve to be in the top 3 or the top 5, period. Yeah. Unless just college baseball is just garbage right now, which it's not. So, I mean, I don't know. Greg, before we even kind of went to it, it seemed like you kind of knew where I was going. So I'm assuming you're kind of in the same ballpark.
Well, yes and no. They're taking a lot of analytics into this ranking, and they're looking at RPI, because Clemson still has a very strong RPI. Same with Carolina, same with FSU. Like they're looking at a lot of those things, right? They're looking at the out of conference stuff, and I'm telling you right now, we're getting penalized for our early struggles, especially down in Jacksonville when we played in a D1 baseball event. Like I still. We're starting to gain that trust back is kind of where I'm going with for us. That we've got a couple tough, again, talk about what you want about midweek games. We've got Liberty. We've got South Carolina Upstate. We have what's another one?
ECU. Oh, wait.
No, we beat but again, that ECU game does us no good. Like they're so bad. We got no points for that, essentially.
Coastal. Play Coastal.
Yeah, but we lost to them.
Wilmington's coming up.
Yeah. That was one of the Jacksonville games. But so with all that being said, just keep winning. It'll work itself out. If you go out and take 2 or 3 from Miami and then go take 2 or 3, or if we pull off a sweep against Carolina, that's gonna we have. Here's the thing we haven't even really talked about. We're talking about a host right now. Just like, okay, just get a regional host. You go win the ACC, you could be in top and play for a top 8. Like it's definitely doable. So there's a ton to be played for.
Do you see a scenario where the ACC champion doesn't get a top 8 seed?
It would have to. You'd have to lose some games. Like people would have to lose games, and it just.
That's what I'm saying.
If you're valuing, if
you've got 4 ACC teams right there in the top 16. So
right, but again, like I said earlier, some of that's gonna play out. They're all gonna start playing each other real quick. Yeah, they're all gonna start playing each other. So it's gonna. Someone's gonna have to drop at least a team or 2. But if you're staying,
the RPIs are really high though, Greg. So they might only drop down 1 spot.
And that's true too. Again, it just depends on how you lose these games, right? Some of that's eye test, right? And so
no. It's not eye test, Greg. It's RPI. Which is it? Is it eye test or is it RPI?
No, but that's the point, right? Like the people change the argument and move the goalpost all the time on these things. I don't see a scenario where the ACC champion does not get a national seed. Or excuse me, I think the verbiage is crazy. I think if you're top 16, that is a national seed. So I think I don't know what the technical term is for a top 8. I guess just top 8. Yeah, but if you're saying the ACC is the second best conference, you would almost have to give one team a top 8 seed. I don't see where you can't. But it does get weird because Oregon State is an independent. Of course, you got UC Irvine in there, which is a very small league school. But still, if you're doing all that, there's got to be a spot in there for an ACC team. Like you just can't be completely SEC biased, or can you?
Yeah. Could you imagine UC Irvine hosting Tennessee in the Super Regional? Like,
yeah, Tennessee's been slipping a little bit. I mean, they were hovering around 1-2 for a long time, and they've kind of taken a spill on the back end of the season. But you got some good teams there. It's gonna be interesting to watch over the last month of the season. That's for sure.
So real quick, I want to take a quick pause. I know, Macon, you got to jump off here soon, man. And I know that your heart and your love is in one sport particularly that's had a lot going on for sure, which is basketball. So I want to take a quick pause here real quick. Macon, what are your thoughts right now, man, about Will Wade, and all of his moves with Terrence Arsenault, with potential getting Scott, even maybe a PJ Haggerty as well. Like, I mean, those rumors are going around. Like, dude, maybe.
Yeah, well, they just announced officially that the 2 transfers from McNeese have signed. So Breed and Copeland have signed. So that's public. So that's now, I think it's 4 that have signed now between Abel, Holloman, Breed, and Copeland.
McNeil has not signed yet? Has Paul McNeil not signed yet?
Nope. I think we've officially lost him.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I mean, McNeil was on the team, so he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
He's already signed.
Oh, okay. Got it. Well, I mean, with today's day and age.
Well, heck, and if they do sign, they can still leave.
Well, yeah.
Well, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, here, let's finish up baseball here real quick, and then we'll jump back. We'll jump into basketball here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, he's back. Oh,
maybe
you love it. All right, Macon, finish up, bro. I love it.
Look at him
on his phone, man. Oh, gotta get audio figured out.
All right, we'll come back to him.
I know, right?
Call him when you have it fixed, like they say on radio.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like it's crazy what's happening right now in the state of college baseball right now with I mean it's crazy how insignificant Texas A&M has been without their coach, how much Tennessee's dropped down even though they're still a very loaded team. Like it's crazy where they've gone. Yeah,
and Mississippi State just fired their head coach today after winning the World Series just a couple years ago.
Crazy.
Like there's definitely some really good teams. I think Omaha is wide open.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's weird when you see like an Oregon in there. They're actually Big Ten, right? So you actually do have one Big Ten team in the top 10. Ton of SEC. A lot of ACC. If you remember last year, Omaha was split 4-4 with 4 ACC, 4 SEC.
Right.
You could potentially see something like that. What for me is okay. Like, how does some of these teams respond? Like, how does Clemson come back? You saw like a team like Georgia Tech who was real hot there for a while, borderline top 10 team, and now they've dropped all the way out after losing a couple of series. Again, still plenty of talent in the ACC. I did see in the comments, I kind of wanted to have addressed it. The single elimination. I personally like the single elimination on the tournament. That means, first off, everyone makes it now. Before, not everyone made the ACC tournament. And then you had the pod play, which I unless you were the pod winner or the pod host or however you want to call that, it was really hard to advance out of that round. And now you just need to get hot, right? And I think like for a team like NC State where they've got really good depth pitching, that's going to keep you in ball games. And so I really like our chances, especially, again, like I said, if we can get a top 4 seed.
Absolutely. All right, Macon, you're back, man. You got audio working now, brother?
I do, yeah. Sorry, my computer died. I'm going to hop on and get my spiel about basketball, and I'm out. But I agree. I was going to add one thing that Greg said. Is this the deepest pitching we've had in recent memory for baseball?
It's
been a long
be.
time.
It's deep
because that's a lot for postseason stuff and winning games. So
yeah, it's deep, but it does remind me of 21, where we only rolled out like 6-7 pitchers in the whole 21 season, right? And so
I wouldn't call it deep though. I just think I think this feels deeper to me.
Yeah, I feel like our starting pitching is deeper than our relief pitchers. Not to say that our relief pitchers aren't really good now. They're pretty young as we've talked about it before. You have Nance, a freshman. You have Lucas as a sophomore. I think you'll see Coop go to the bullpen in postseason. He's a sophomore. Dune's a sophomore. And so you just, but those guys have experience from last year. So, but you're supplementing, of course, I don't want to forget Schaffner. He's had a hell of a year. Just got named to the reliever watch list of the year list last week. So I want to give him his flowers. But I really do like how this team is constructed. They're going to win a lot of close games. They keep playing that small ball, and when 1 run, 2 runs are going to mean the difference in postseason play, I do like our chances for our pitching staff to hold up against these big bats, and they've showed it before. I mean, this is basically the same. Other than losing Sam Highfield, this is basically the same starting rotation that you rolled with last year.
Yeah. Yep. So you want to move on to basketball, Leighton?
Go for it, man. What's your thoughts, brother?
So I think with the announcements from some of these media sites of the 2 commitments that are unsigned at this point that are publicly out there between Jerry Dang from Florida State and Terrence Arsenault from Houston, I think the versatility that State has right now and the length they have, they seem to really be prioritizing athleticism and length. And really, I mean, like versatility in that they can play defense, they can guard the perimeter. A lot of these 3-and-D kind of wings, it sounds like, that can really shoot a lot of threes. Like Jerry Dang came out of nowhere. And that guy I think he had a higher field goal percentage with somebody in his face than he did just a purely open shot. And he's 6'9", shooting threes. And I think this shot was somewhere around 100 attempts on the season. I mean, that's a high number of threes. Very respectable. And a guy who's 6'9", who is choosing to shoot those shots. Arsenault I think Arsenault's a top 50 recruit nationally when he committed to Houston. He's a guy that he still is putting it all together, but he's flashed a lot of things with his ability to attack around the perimeter. He really does come across like he can score at the rim, his mid-range game. He does have a 3-point shot. Like he can do all of that, which is very valuable. I know there's some doubts about there's some doubts about how this team is going to come together from a shooting standpoint. But I can tell you what, there's so many great options right now on this team that if they continue to build, like you mentioned, the rumor for AJ Haggerty, that he's like an all-star kind of guy, be very expensive. I saw someone just put in the Discord that Darian Reed just committed to Oklahoma. So that's news there. I think that if they can continue to add a few more superstars out there, I think there's a tweet out there about Darren Williams being a guy that State was involved in with. AJ Haggerty is a guy they're involved with. You add those guys on top of what they already have, you become very dangerous, I think, as a team.
Absolutely.
Not just kind of, wondering if they are going to be a top, half team in the ACC. I think if you get some of these studs in the transfer portal, get a couple of them if you can. I think you're not doubting that at that point. That is what you should be. And even now, I mean, I think you're fringe top half of the ACC. You might be fringe top third, but I think if you get a few more of these superstar guys in, you are that. So that's just my thoughts. I'm really excited about it. just very versatile team that is long, can run, can score on multiple levels. I love that. So
yeah,
we had,
no,
we
it's
had
good
James
stuff,
Scott on campus today, so we'll see how that one goes. It sounds like he was there, and it sounds like maybe PJ Haggerty is somewhere, you know, in the being looked at, I guess would probably be the best word to say it.
Yeah, I saw the top 4 was or like, you know, top 4 options for him was returning back to Memphis, Ole Miss, Texas, and us. So which I think is, I mean, it makes sense for sure. I mean, especially, you know, a Texas.
He's shopping around. He can make money. He's going to make money, and that's what they're going to do now. But, you know, I think if you have some of these guys on the team right now, like I'm going to pick somebody random, Paul McNeil. Let's pick Paul McNeil right now. If Paul McNeil is coming off the bench, that's a good sign for your team. If he's a stud, like that's a great thing too. But like if you know what he is and he's coming off the bench, it's probably because you got guys who are stars who are even better than him right now. And we all thought Paul McNeil, to my opinion, was the only guy that I really cared about keeping from last year's team. And maybe the number one guy, if we're going to keep anybody, it's Paul McNeil. If he's coming off the bench, or like I'm trying to think of fringe. Let's say Terrence Arsenault. I don't know if he's considered a starter right now, or Alan Breed. If he is, like those guys are like, you know, you're playing really well. I just don't know. There's so much versatility here on this team that they could go a lot much different ways. Kadir Copeland, if he's coming off the bench, that's a good sign for your team. So I'm just kind of adding, like, there's still guys to go out and get that. But I think you made a point, Lane. I don't think Terrence Arsenault is coming to state to not start. But you got to earn it, right? So I don't know. The cream will rise to the top here, and just add more. Just add more weapons. Just add more if you can. If you can afford them, play some Moneyball here. I told my dad to watch that movie. It's what it's kind of becoming now. Go watch Moneyball. And I love this, and it feels like I love personally also how this staff is just.
They're very analytical.
Very analytical.
To your point,
very quiet. Like you didn't even know Jerry Dean was even on the radar until he committed to state. Like that's really cool to me. So
yeah. It was just came out of nowhere. We're like, because we're all thinking it's like oh, like there's someone committed. We're like, okay, like which one of the names is it that we're hearing? And it's like, oh, that guy. Okay, let me go see about this guy because I know nothing about him.
Yeah, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Now, Mick, I do want to ask you one more fun question, man. So if you know, bang for buck, I'm not going to say straight up. I mean, unless even straight up, it's still even a question. But if you had the choice between Haggerty and Williams, which would you rather have?
I'll be honest, I haven't watched a ton of Haggerty's film just yet. The guys who are smarter than me are saying Haggerty's the guy you would want.
Over 21 points a game average over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody on our team right now that can even scratch that. So,
and we haven't had that guy for a couple of years either.
Right. I mean, you want a guy who can get you that every night. That's invaluable on a team. But Darian Williams is a problem at the power forward, the 4 position. Smaller, but he's a mismatch, and he's kind of proven to be a mismatch at Texas Tech. The guys who are smarter than me are saying AJ Haggerty, but that's only I can't say it because I just haven't watched it yet. But I know those guys are smarter than me, like I said. So,
but so my only counter to that would be is at what point are you going to get some length then? If you bring in a Haggerty, like who are you going to play in the front court? I know you've got some stretch 3s, 4s in some of the guys that we've already brought in, but do you feel comfortable at that point? You know, and again, unless there's just somebody. And here's the point that we don't know. We don't know how much these guys are really costing and how much money we have left in the pool and so on and so forth. So there's factors that we just don't. Price. Yeah, you would just be guessing because you've heard numbers for Haggerty at 4, but then we've starting to hear some of that's coming down because there's not a market for $4 million for him.
Yeah, I mean, the tallest guy on the team right now is Deng. He's 6'9". Tallest guy on the team is 6'9". DJ Burns is 6'9", right? You can have other guys.
I don't think you need a 7-footer, but you need depth. That's the problem. Like you can't roll in with like 2 dudes. Like we've seen that where, you know, and again, these are apples to oranges, different players, different schemes. But you've seen our bigs get in foul trouble, and then we just fall to crap because we get beat up inside, especially in the ACC with bigs.
But if you go get a guy like James Scott, he becomes, he's a legit. To me, James Scott feels like a guy. And you can go get other post players too. He just makes a lot of sense to me. Where it's like, and it is a need at some point. Maybe you reach on a James Scott financially to get him to come to state. I don't know, but I almost want to feel like you want to say he's a need right now. Like you need to get him. Because of the connections, this is the kind of guy. This is the guy with the connections on that you need to get. But he's a guy that all these other children want.
Yeah, and he's got a connection to another guy that has some state connections. So maybe you get a 2 for 1.
Right. Yeah. But there's a lot of connection. There's a lot of they do need to get a couple more 4 or 5s. Because Dang is not going to be a 5. Dang's just not going to be that. He's going to be a 3-4 kind of guy. And so you need a couple truly front court guys. Maybe like Darian Williams, he could stretch. He played 4, but he stretched it out to the 3-point line. Like Dang could play 4, stretch the 3-point line. You need a guy that's going to kind of live as a post player. Or 2.
Well, and I mean, the 2 things I'll say is, first of all, I think that State's going to add probably 4 more players, probably, out of either the portal, high school, whatever it may be.
Right now we're at what, 6 or 7?
I'm trying to count it off. So you got Breed, Copeland, McNeil. You've got
the 2 freshmen.
Holloman. You've got Wilkins and Abel. I'm at 6 there. You've got
Arsenault.
You've got Arsenault. You've got I just his name Dang, and I'm blanking on somebody right now.
So how many is that? 8? 9?
I got 8, but there's a 9th guy I'm missing right now. Or it's 8. It's actually right. Yeah. So the 8. So you get 9, 10, 11, 12. Or
you can go to 13. You can go to 13. Yeah. It just depends on if you're going to go to 13 or not.
Yeah, probably 4 more you're looking at. Yeah.
So, probably a couple big guys, a best available, or the best, like a, Williams or a Haggerty if you want. And then maybe like a, Trey Parker if he wants to come back, maybe, like a guy that maybe is kind of a developmental upside guy potentially. But, again, we have options. And because the other thing which I'll say as well is, you got to give Wade credit for sure. This is a guy that's definitely not set with one style. He's a guy that has said, I'm willing to go fast. I'm willing to go slow. I'm willing to do whatever it takes depending on the team I have. And obviously being this is his first roster that he's building, it's going to take a little bit of kind of flexibility on his end to kind of, not necessarily go with what maybe he wants in terms of style wise, but definitely with this team go around what he gets for sure. And then for next season, when he has some more time to prepare and, build relationships and really see what he has in a guy like, for example, like a Paul McNeil, then from there, he can kind of make decisions based on the style that he thinks will be best in the ACC. But it's a great roster. I think, from an excitement perspective, it's been probably 2013 was probably the last time I've been this excited about a basketball roster, to be honest with you. You had Richard Howell and TJ Warren, Tyler Lewis, all those guys. That was a pretty exciting roster. But it's a very athletic, very lengthy roster that is going to play some great defense. That's another thing too that Keats didn't really ever have in his,
I thought his defense was fine at times. I did. I thought we pressed sometimes. No, look, come on now. You look at that Final Four run. We were playing some really good defense. Like we were holding
the run, yes.
But I know, but that was just a short period. I totally get it. I totally get it. Like
that was never his MO was defense.
Yeah, overall, offensive metrics were always better than defensive. But during that run, we were just elite on.
Which is wild that we
got the guy who wanted to pressure the ball. He wanted to score so he could set up his full court pressure and do that kind of thing. But it was never he never so invested in defense. It was a transition offense.
Well, it didn't work last year because we didn't make baskets.
You got to score, right? It's a transition system, but if you're not scoring, you're not scoring. And you can't if you're not scoring, you're not setting up your pressure. So it's not
true.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Very good point.
Yeah.
But I mean, why not, Michael? I'll ask you that question though, because that's kind of the biggest thing right now is kind of what's next. I think Scott. I mean, what's your confidence rating right now? I mean, keep in mind that with today's day and age, everything changes on a minutely basis. With the transfer portal these days. But what would you say your confidence rating is right now in terms of Scott wearing a state uniform next season?
Yeah, like it's hard to say, but it's like when he went in the portal, it was like immediately NC State. Like the Louisville reporters were saying that's why he went in the portal.
NC State stole him, kind of was the thing. So
yeah,
right. So,
but it's sure taking a long time if they're
happen.
stealing him.
Yeah, anything can happen, but I would still lean more likely yes than no. He ends up.
Yeah,
let's
totally.
see.
I want to say it's about I want to say 70-80% it's state right now, and then if something changes because schools can always come in. But I mean, I know nothing. I know nothing, but it just feels kind of like you're saying. Immediately he went to state. He's from Faithful. State has a wide open front court.
Yeah,
it makes so much sense. But they can go get somebody else right there. Who's to say that like there's not somebody that they have aware of that just commits tomorrow that none of us are talking about? I mean, they've already proven that they'll do that. They will do that. So,
but I also think too that if you're believing some of the things that you're reading online, and again, who knows what's true, but some of these guys are balking at committing to state, and then they're moving on and going to get somebody else, and that very scenario can continue to play out as we look at this. So it's not necessarily like we're missing out on guys. We're just not hanging around waiting for people to make decisions. Like I think Wade really wants to fill out his roster and be done with this and get into the mechanics of what the season's going to look like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at some point you got to start, you got to start developing. You got to start, getting ready. I mean, believe it or not, I mean,
you got time.
Well, he said it at his press conference. Either you want to be here. I'm paraphrasing, but basically he said either you want to be here at state or you don't. Like, I don't have time. Right. I don't have time. Like, just, if you want to be here and the feeling's mutual, we'll work something out and make it happen. But if not, I'm moving on to the next.
They're not gonna like. To me, it's like a money ball. They have a price. They evaluate their players. You mentioned the analytical side of things. If you're not in this value that we view you, we're like, okay, see you later. Like, and I think Wade even mentioned that. He mentioned what his mistakes were at LSU that got him in trouble. He said, hey, one thing I realized is that I don't have to land every recruit kind of thing. Like I can move on to the next guy, and that got me in trouble. And he said I got arrogant about it. And I think having a GM now is going to help some accountability there, make it happen. But to that point, I just don't. I don't think they're going to overpay to some degree unless they feel like this is the right guy to overpay for, and we have the resources to do so.
Yeah. Look, the nice thing about 1,000 people being in the portal is there's 1,000 people in the portal. So if your guy, doesn't want to come, then there's 999 others to go find in the portal.
But this is so fun to me. Like, I love this. I hate that it's about money.
Yeah.
But it's so fun to me. Like, it's like, who is going to be the team next year that wins the national championship, right? That's what it's going to be.
Well, we didn't grab the tweet, but it's that loser dude from Inside Carolina and 247 that Steve Williams burned beautifully. He was talking all this smack for anyone that didn't see it. He was talking about how Wade really hasn't done anything in the portal class and blah, 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 blah.
It's almost filled.
The mere fact is that Florida, who just won the national championship, was fringe 50. Like they were like 44 in the transfer portal last year.
Moneyball, right?
It's not about who you get. It's about how you. It's not about what you get. It's who you get and how you're able to use their talents and maximize their ability.
Yeah, work smarter. Yeah, you don't have to get the biggest name. Just work smart. Yeah.
I mean Moneyball is the quintessential like modern day sports movie when it all comes to set it, because it doesn't just apply to baseball. The premises works in any sport, and you've seen guys that were in football move over to baseball because they're numbers guys, and it's just you create a formula and you just input numbers and you just crunch numbers, and it spits out a ticker tape of dudes that you can potentially look at, and then you go do the eye test on them and then you play Let's Make a Deal. and then there's your roster.
Yep. No, absolutely. I mean, and here's the other thing as well. Right now is um. Oh, did y'all see Marcus Hill committed to Texas A&M?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
They got money.
Mbako and Hill are going to be at A&M, the guys who were and almost were at State. So
Who's that? Who did you say?
Mbako, the guy,
yeah,
the forward from Indiana.
Yeah.
mhm. So I
Good
mean,
luck
we'll
in the
get
SEC.
moving. Yeah,
And
good luck
by
in
the way,
SEC.
Buzz left. So
Where'd he go?
That's true.
Maryland.
Maryland.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
So I don't know if they're going to be the same team that they've been over the last couple of years. Like I don't know. I hadn't even really heard of the coach that they brought in. I think they brought in a kind of a low level guy.
They
Yeah,
did.
guy
Well,
from Stanford.
Yeah,
Well,
Stanford, that was, yeah.
there's going to be one thing that's the same about that team, even to last year. That's they're going to have big pockets.
Always,
yeah.
that oil money.
Always and forever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no.
In fact, we missed out on a
crazy
girl
time.
on the women's side because of that, and she went to Texas A&M. We had the girl from St. Peter's, Fatma. I can't remember her last name, but she ended up going to Texas A&M. So
Yeah.
we had her on a visit. Just what it is.
It is what it is. I know. I at the man, like I still it still does blow my mind, honestly, that like, man, like I don't know what Texas A&M like, you know, graduates like do for a living, but man, like somehow they got all the money in the world. It's crazy. Like, and
Well, they
because
have
that's the thing is,
they have a big alumni association that's very
Yeah.
active in their donations and
Oh.
giving, and so you don't need 5 guys that do this when you have 20,000 that give that. You know, it all
Right.
you know, it all plays out, and
It's a good
we
point.
just we don't have the strength of numbers. I mean, Texas is a freaking massive state. I
Yeah.
bet their alumni association is, you know, their giving donation is probably 25 or 30,000 people easily.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well, I saw today that the deadline's coming up soon for
May
season
1st.
ticket for
3 days.
yeah, priority
For
season
many of us,
tickets.
well,
Yep. Yeah.
That's
for basketball.
Yeah, for basketball. Any chance y'all feel like that we sell out of season tickets? I don't know if that's ever happened, but
No,
I mean, any
I don't think
chance?
we will.
No.
I mean, hell, we
Pretty
didn't
close.
do it. I mean, granted, it's apples to oranges, but we didn't really. I don't feel like we got an uptick after the Final Four run. Again, it's different. I get it because
Yep.
people still weren't sold on Keats after the run, but I definitely think we probably got an uptick. I can probably get that information if anyone's curious. I can probably.
I'd be very curious to see. I mean, because like, you know, obviously, and because that's the other thing too, as well, is that it's funny because like one of the themes that's kind of come out with all this is, you know, with okay, maybe in-state now is a basketball school, but yet football has sold out season tickets for probably 6-7 years, if I had to guess, in a row, something like that.
At least,
Yeah.
At least. So it's just and also too, because I mean Carter Finley holds way more people than the Lenovo Center does.
Yeah.
Over
Almost
2.5 times.
Yeah, almost
3 times.
Yeah.
3 times. So I don't know, man, because that kind of leads me to my other piece as well, which is like maybe probably last year, but you know, it's kind of a little bit of apples to oranges, a little in my opinion, because I think last year's team was a lot of, I don't know, like it just kind of blows my mind that we are way closer to football season than we are basketball season, and right now all talk, all talk is around basketball. Like I haven't heard a peep about football in the last probably week or two. Like seriously.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, we're
I-
also go ahead, Michael. Go ahead, I've been talking.
I think some of that has to do with just no spring game and
Yeah.
spring practice just being really kept tight this year.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it's
tight.
still heavy portal season for basketball. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just all the. I mean, you have a coaching change. Like, you know, the momentum is just different. You know, you're in year 13, 14 for Doran. It just feels like we're just, again, perception is everything. I'm not saying this is the truth, but it just feels like we're just kind of going through the motions with football at this point, right? We're just kind of you're just kind of settled into the you know, it's like that old husband and wife that after 25 years of marriage or 40 years of marriage, they're just looking at each other one day and goes, "You want to get a divorce?" I mean, it just kind of feels that way where they've just lost touch with each other, and I think the fan base is kind of getting that way towards the football program and Coach Dorn. Not to say that we're there. I'm just saying it just feels like that's kind of where the fan base is at with football, at least.
And
right, wrong, or indifferent.
And it's well, first it'll depend on the outcome of the season, the football season. But if also depends on the outcome of the basketball season. Like if Will Wade comes in and like is having a really great year in year one, there's going to be a lot more calls for a switch up in football. Like, see, look at what we're doing with basketball.
Yep.
So I don't know. Yeah.
Here's my thing is like, it's like, when's the last time NC State, has gone into the NCAA tournament like, we're good. Like, what are we gonna get? Like a 4 seed, 5 seed kind of deal, like not on the bubble kind of thing. Like, it's been a while since we've had that feeling. Like, probably Sendek years, probably. Maybe the last time you really felt that confident going.
No, I thought Godfrey with that team with Tyler Lewis and all of that. I thought they were in fairly comfortable.
11. We were an 11 seed.
Well, we were 11. Oh shoot, I thought we were higher than that.
No.
Well, BJ Anya year we were a 9.
Seed. 8 seed, we were the highest ever under Godfrey.
Yeah, so we were 90. We were 9 the year we made the Sweet 16.
Sendek was a 3 seed in 2004. That was
there we go.
Yeah, that would be probably it.
That's probably it.
I mean, in 8 seed, you're in, but it's like you're not like
right. You want to be a 7 or a 6.
Yeah,
right. Because you avoid the 1. If you want to avoid the 1 in the second round.
Right. Yeah. You don't necessarily want to have to, and a lot of that comes with, again, whether you're whether you're truly an at large, or whether you are pretty solidified. Like either way, you're an at large unless you win the conference championship. Which again, if you win the ACC, hopefully, unless the ACC is absolute garbage like it was last season, and unless you're Duke, then like more likely you're going to be a top 4 seed at the very least. If you win the ACC.
3. I mean.
Probably top 3. I mean, let's be yeah, exactly. I mean, let's be real. But so
if you're saying you're a 4, that means you're like a 16 national, ranking. You know what I mean? Like I mean, the ACC champion shouldn't be number 16 in the country. Like I would feel there would be no worse than 8 or 9. And even that's pretty brutal.
I mean, as crazy as talk about. I mean, like even without, like, let's say God forbid that Cooper Flag, let's say towards the beginning of the season, got an injury and was out for the year. I still would think that Duke, with how they even play without Cooper Flag, they probably still could have won the ACC last year, even without Cooper Flag.
Yeah, the ACC was garbage.
ACC was so garbage. It was. Crazy.
I mean, the number 2 and 3 seeds were like Louisville and Clemson. They're not. I mean, they were good. Don't get me wrong. They're good teams. Good teams, but not elite. Not
elite. Lost in the first round.
I was getting ready to say that same thing. Yep.
It's a great point. So
I mean, how often do you see that, like the second and third best teams in the ACC losing the first round? It's maybe one, but not both.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not making AC Commission's job much easier when with all the ACC and grant of rights conversations. It's a
Louisville. I'll say Louisville did get a little screwed on their seeding.
They did. I thought they did.
Oh,
8 seed and played Creighton in the first round. Like they had a resume of like at least I think 5
or 6.
Them as a 5 or 6.
Yeah. What were they? A 7?
No, an 8. I think
8.
And Creighton was a 9, and Creighton's that's a tough matchup for a 9.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, but again, it's good times for sure. Definitely a little bit interested to see what happens from a women's basketball side. There's definitely. What are your thoughts on that?
Nope. Been very quiet.
Very
no
quiet.
portal additions yet, right?
Yeah. Nope. I think just, if I'm being brutally honest, it's the NIL. The women's NIL is definitely seeing what's out there for the men in other sports, and I think they're trying to, and rightfully so, take advantage of trying to get their money. And it's not become like, oh, you have a good basketball program, well, I will commit to your school. It's like, okay, you have a good basketball program, I will at least look at you. Now give me my money. It's not, it's not, it's not just because Wes Moore is the head coach and you've been to a Final Four, won 3-4 ACC championships. The pedigree doesn't really matter. It just gets you a visit, and you still got to come up with the money at some point. And I know from a fact that just talking with some of my people that are on the that are more on the inside knowledge of women's basketball, they've said that NIL has probably cost us at least 2, maybe 3 recruits.
But again, like we've talked about before, it's just there's unfortunately, unless you're Texas A&M, there's only so much to go around. You got to pick and choose,
Well, and that goes back to, and we kind of talked about it a couple episodes ago, at least when I was on, is you got that $20 million, and that's your budget. And so, how do you want to attack it? What's your percentages look like? What do you want to invest in? If you're a Vanderbilt, you're probably putting more into baseball because they're a baseball school, and you got to find ways to not only generate money from the NIL, but then the revenue as well. And it's just, okay, what are you going to go be good at? And you got to pick and choose. And then you got to fundraise for the rest of it with your NIL.
Which, speaking of, shout out to Vandy. So, come on, man. Vandy Whistler, Greg, man. Come on, dude. If that rhythm is not like just cemented in your head forever, man. Come on.
I have PTSD from that, dude.
That's what I'm saying. Dudes, I guess it's so funny.
Dudes, I know there are 2 of them. I know.
2 of them. Completely different styles too. One full on.
And there's a lot of their own fan base that doesn't even like them. And then you get the rest of the SEC. They can't stand them, and they can't really do anything about it because it's natural.
And then you got the guy from Barstool just absolutely lighting the fire on the Vandy Whistler at the SC tournament game. Yeah. That was hilarious and will live in infamy forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's but I do really quick. Any final thoughts, sir, here, Michael, about women's basketball NIL before we jump on to a couple of side shout outs as well to wrap this thing up?
I mean, it sucks we don't have that NIL support, right? Because I mean, Westmore, you could say Westmore's,
the most deserving,
one of the best coaches we have on campus, and but he it's not like his success has come through the portal. It's come through high school and development, and so
I mean, he's had a couple nice portal additions that maybe Mimi Collins comes to mind, and Madison Hayes was a portal. Sanaya Rivers, but
that was kind of pre NIL though, mostly. But
it was right
at the beginning.
It was before NIL was really taking hold, especially in the women's sports, because now and you kind of seen it in wrestling where we've lost some guys because of NIL opportunities. So at first it was the big sports, right? Baseball. I mean, it's not baseball. I wish it was baseball, but men's basketball and football, right? Those were the 2 that kind of took foothold on it. They were kind of the test bed of it. And now when other sports are starting to see, hey, like I can go do this or I can do that to make a couple bucks, I can, do a Chipotle commercial or whatever local, thing is and get some free stuff. And baseball, there's some guys that have gotten baseball glove deals, sunflower seeds deals, dating sites deals. They're Basebalology, which is a big national brand for baseball. So they're not big things, but they're a couple thousand here, a couple thousand there. But I almost feel like, I know you have compliance, but I think you almost now need a marketing department for your players so that you can go out and find opportunities for them to help attract them to get that extra few dollars that they can go get.
Yep. Real quick, want to give a huge shout out to Anthony Belton for getting drafted in the 2nd round to the Green Bay Packers.
That was pretty high.
That was high. That was exciting for sure as well. I mean, especially, just to add a big piece, to Dave Doran's resume from an NFL draft perspective. It's awesome to see him go that high. And I mean, it definitely gives him a lot of props, and because from an O-line perspective, Dave Doran's had a lot of success for sure. So
what, 4 drafts in a row?
At least
had
Belton.
That we've had somebody get drafted. Offensive line.
Belton. You've had Icky. You've had Bradbury. have
McMahon last year.
Yeah, McMahon. Yeah,
Zavala the year before, and then Icky.
Yeah.
So
and then before that, you had
was Bradbury a little earlier. I thought Bradbury,
he was a couple of years,
maybe a couple of years. Yeah.
And then you had Tooney as well. You know, who wasn't really highly drafted, but I mean, obviously
he's been the best one. Yeah,
he's the centerpiece by far.
He's definitely the standard.
I mean, it's like you think about like some of the greatest careers for an NC State football player of all time, and Tooney's right up there for sure.
Yeah, I think he's the most accomplished professional.
Oh, for sure.
I don't think it's even close.
Yeah,
no. Sure. But also got to give a shout Trent Hadley for winning the U.S. Open. Going to be facing the winner from Title Title X, I believe this is what it's called, the tournament, and basically he'll face the winner of that Title X to see who will represent Team USA. So a huge opportunity for him there, for sure. Excited about that. And then also got to give a shout out to tennis.
Oh, I was just saying, Grizz just retired from wrestling the other day.
Yeah.
Gwiz.
I'm sorry, not Grizz. Wiz. Yes, sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Yep. See, Preacher Man, appreciate it. Thank you for confirming
always,
that.
Always on the wrestling.
Yep. Yeah. No, Gwiz officially hanging up the shoes.
The singlet.
You know. Yeah. Right. The singlet, hanging up the singlet. You know, again, in my opinion, the greatest in-state wrestler of all time, and you know, so excited for him. I know he's done a lot with coaching, so definitely excited to see what he does in that.
And doing some announcing too. He did a couple of matches last year on ESPN it should be ACC Network. Excuse me. Yeah, did a couple of things there, and then like you said, he was at Cornell. Is he still at Cornell, or is he done? Like, did he finish? I think he finished there, didn't he?
I think he finished there
because I think last year he was doing some of the stuff on ACC Network.
Correct.
I think he did like one or two matches.
I think he's kind of trying to figure out kind of what he wants to do. Yeah. I think he has different avenues, you know, and so you know, just kind of weighing options, and especially now that he's decided to step away, I think now is really where you're starting to kind of figure that out. But I mean, he's got there's not many college wrestling programs in the country that wouldn't love to have him as assistant coach. So sure. He's got options. But got to give a shout again to tennis though, even though neither of them are unfortunately able to get the job done from ACC championship perspective. I mean, both being regional hosts, you know, is at the same time is extremely impressive, and you know, and they both set up very well in terms of getting both get into the Sweet 16, which is, you know, it's again just is another testament to where these programs are going, and how NC State tennis is becoming one of the premier landing spots in all of college tennis right now nationally. So huge shout out to both of them for that, for sure. And also too, I mean, got to give a shout out to the club rugby national champions, right? I mean, hey, I mean, we've always said that you know, that whether it's, you know, whatever sport it may be, it doesn't matter. If you win a natty, if you beat Carolina, we're gonna love and support it, no doubt about it. So club rugby, a little bit of a tongue twister there. National champions, huge shout out to them as well. Greg, any final thoughts here, man, about baseball, basketball, you name it, man?
Baseball. You had 2 players of the weeks. D1 baseball gave it to Alex Sosa, while the ACC conference gave it to Braden Fraseman. It was funny when D1 announced Sosa, I was like, well, okay, you know, he had a great weekend because we didn't play ECU last week, so we only had a 3-game week. But then I was like, well, what about Fraseman? And then ACC came out with Fraseman. I was like, well, that's perfect, because I was like, they should have been players of the week. But both of those guys. Sosa's just been on fire the last couple of weeks. He's really raised his average, hitting for not only a higher average, but just slugging percentage. He's been killing it. And so that's my baseball thoughts. I'll be flying down to Miami for the series this weekend, and so excited about that. We'll get some stuff and photos and content from down in Coral Gables. And big series, you know, next 2 weeks are really big, and then, you know, kind of close it out a little easier against Stanford, and hope they can just keep the momentum going. I don't see a reason why not. And you got UNCW tomorrow at home.
Yep. Have you been to Coral Gables before?
I have not. I talked to Corciani at the game on, I guess it was Friday night, and he said he'll be down there as well. So, because that's his,
Sick.
his home. So we'll see. Corch will be down there supporting baseball, and I think there's a good reason to go to Miami. So I know there's a lot of parents that are going to be making the trip. So I think we'll have a nice little contingent of fans down there. So listen for us. We'll be making some noise.
Absolutely, Michael. Any final thoughts, comments from you?
No, like you said, just Pac-9, keep it going.
Pac-9 all the way, dude. It's it out of this whole athletic season that has definitely been underwhelming to say the very least, for sure. A ACC championship for Coach Avent, this in-state baseball team, would automatically, by default, make this a great athletic season.
Make it a good year.
Automatically, period. And go ahead and if he gets this ACC championship, put him in the Hall of Fame, build the statue, like as if the statue's not going to be built already. But I mean, just like, all right, like, solidified one of the greatest coaches in state history, period. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
So,
I guess my last thought too is that we didn't talk about him because I think his start on Saturday or
his start
this week is this week is weird because it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I'm just saying Saturday starter because it's game 2. But Heath Andrews threw a hell of a game on game 2. We didn't talk about him at all. Career high 9 strikeouts, which is huge because he's not a really huge strikeout guy. So go out there and get that performance was massive, especially after run ruling Clemson in game 1. You could have seen a letdown in game 2, and the boys just came out and did their thing. So that game 2 was just as important as game 1, and then solidifying it with Marone's performance. Which, look, Marone is your third game starter, and he's just filthy. Like his last 2 starts against ACC opponents. Or thank you, Michelle. That's actually a good point too. We didn't talk about that. The victory over Cancer. They're only about $4,500 from reaching their goal of 60,000. So hopefully they can get to that number. But I look with Marone as your third game starter. I don't know if there's too many other schools out there that can kind of roll up that guy as your third guy. He's just been lights out the last 2 weeks against Louisville when you needed him in a rubber match, and then just complete the sweep. So enough can't be said about him. I know. I could talk another 30 minutes about baseball, but we need it in the show.
Yeah. Well, thank you all so much again for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you hit that like button as well. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to us, do us a big favor. Leave us a 5-star review as well. We greatly appreciate that. But with that being said, again, we've got a lot of stuff to look forward to over the next few days and and this weekend with state baseball. You got women's and men's tennis hosting, so make sure to go and support them, y'all. But again, y'all, thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see y'all soon. And as always, go Pack, beat Miami. Let's do it.